Setting up and installing Fooocus can seem complicated, so let me show you how to get it up and running in a matter of minutes. First off, you can only run Fooocus using a Windows machine, or using alternatives like ShadowPC, which provides you with an entire virtual Windows machine, simulating your own Windows PC, or Google Colab, which lets you run pre-assembled code online to give you access to Fooocus inside of a browser. Now each of these options have their own benefits and drawbacks, so let's get right into it. Also note that a setup process for being on your own Windows machine versus using ShadowPC is identical, since it's just like having your own Windows PC inside of a different program. So if you either have a Windows machine with a good enough graphics card, or you've used ShadowPC or a similar competitor, let me show you how to actually download it. So search for Fooocus with 3 O's. Then this first link here, this GitHub, is where you need to go. Then go onto releases and scroll down, go to the last page, and here is a V2. So you press on that, and now right here you can simply press on here to download the zip folder. Now as a disclaimer, this current version of Fooocus is 1.83 gigabytes, so be aware of that and just know that it'll take a bit of time to download. As a simple tip, to find your output media, go into the folder of Fooocus where you've unzipped it, and then down to outputs. And then in here you'll be able to see your outputs from that specific day. Now to start Fooocus, you can just run the regular version, or one which is more focused towards anime, or one focused towards realistic. The other alternative is Google Colab, which allows you to use graphics card units from Google along with pre-assembled code, and with the press of a button it'll run Fooocus inside of your browser. Now the benefit and simultaneous drawback of Google Colab is that only when there are resources available from Google can you use it for free, which makes you dependent on enough resources being available. Additionally, your session could end abruptly and you'll lose your progress. Also, using the free version, no data will be saved after you close out of your current session, which is called runtime, which means that you'll have to reinstall multiple gigabytes of files each time you close and reopen your session, and in turn wait for a few minutes. And you can only run one of the 3 basic models: standard, anime and realistic, because if you try to also install a checkpoint or a low-res, then it'll cut the process. Models, checkpoints and low-res are basically building blocks that make Fooocus return more specific and refined pictures. Now as a side note, these issues can be negated somewhat with a paid plan. You could, for example, get 100 compute units per month instead of the first subscription, as well as being able to use faster GPUs, which then in turn decrease the generation time of images and access to more memory. In here you can also then save your progress, basically meaning that you don't have to wait to reinstall these multiple gigabytes of file sizes on each session start. Before we get started, make sure that you're logged into a Google account inside of Google Drive, and then inside of a browser just enter Fooocus with 3 O's, and then this first link, the GitHub, is where you want to go to, and then you scroll down past the download right here to the Colab section. Now you can press right here on Colab and it'll open this Colab session for you right from the get-go. This right here is the code that's already pre-assembled for you, and you would just have to press play right here to get started. Now as I told you, there are 3 models that you can run using the free version. This right here is the standard version, and instead when going back to the GitHub page, you can either input preset anime right here or preset realistic at the end. That would then change the open session of your Fooocus window according to whatever needs you have in that case. If you want a more realistic image or more geared towards anime, for example. So once you're on this page, first of all, in the top, press here copy to drive, which will then open up a new folder structure inside of your Google Drive and a new tab in this case as well. You can close out of this previous one right here. And then inside of your Google Drive, you will have this new folder called Colab Notebooks, and inside of there, you'll then have your current session. Next, you have to connect to a GPU by pressing connect right here in the top right. Alright, that took about 1 minute to find a connection, and now we see that we're connected with a T4 graphics card unit. Before we continue, if you were to use, for example, Colab Pro or Pro Plus, then by pressing this down arrow right here and pressing change runtime type, you would be able to change your graphics card right here. So now that we have our folder structure inside of our Google Drive, as well as being connected to a GPU, we can press play right here on the left side of the code. And I'm gonna stay on the standard version of Fooocus for right now. Now this process is going to take a few minutes to basically clone Fooocus for this session in order for us to use it. And And you'll know it's finished by seeing the line app started successful, and then you can use either your local link right here or the public link. Either of those is going to work. So you click on it. And now we have Fooocus inside of a browser window. To finish your Google Colab session, you can either just simply close out of the tab, or under the drop down, go to disconnect and delete runtime. Finally, once you've created an image and want to download it, simply go back to the tab of Google Colab, and then on the left side, you might have to wait for it a bit to load. Under the folder Fooocus, go down to Outputs, and in here you'll have your picture. As a final thought I want to leave you with, if you want to effectively use Fooocus, go ahead and take a look at our videos on Fooocus on our channel, for example the in-paint and out-paint feature or face swapping.